So good morning, everyone. My name is Samruddhi, and I'm an Indian rifle shooter. I am pursuing my master's in sports and exercise psychology, and I would like to thank Newcastle University for organizing this event and accepting my registration. Um, today I will be talking about psychological training for shooting sport. Firstly, I would like to give a brief overview about what shooting is as a sport. So, introduction to the sport. It is conducted by the ISSF, International Shooting Sports Federation, which is the governing body which conducts all the international matches, World Cups, World Championships, and even the Olympics. The ISSF governing body is a part of Olympics as well. Moving on to the events of the sport, there are three major events. First one is rifle, second is pistol, and the third one is shotgun. I've put the picture so that you get an idea about the kind of equipments which are being used and how they are different for all three events. Moving on to the events which are specifically close to what I pursue as an air rifle shooter, I would like to describe it. These events are there. In rifle, we have 50-meter, 3 positions and prone. There is an image on the right side where you can see there are 3 different positions. And 10-meter air rifle is the standing event. There is only one position. On the other hand, in pistol, we have 50-meter free pistol. We have 25-meter rapid fire and center fire. And in 10-meter, we have air pistol. Apparently, for air pistol, the position is the same, which is holding the pistol in one hand and then shooting. Now I'll be talking about the demands of the sport. So specifically when it comes to...
Sorry to interrupt, but we can't see your slides moving. I don't know if it's just me, but I can only see your title slide. So just to make you aware of that.
I'm so sorry. Just a minute. Is it visible now?
No, I can just still see your title slide. So it's not moving through your slideshow. So maybe if you put it on slideshow mode, then we'll be able to.
Just a second, I'll check.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can see demands of sport now.
All right. So shooting is a sport which requires smallest and finest movements. So an athlete requires just to flex a finger in order to shoot. As it contains a minimal physical component, it contains an extreme level of mental preparation in order to perform at a higher level. So the most basic thing which athletes say is being calm and steady on the lane while shooting. So these are the demands which I found to be generally apparent for all the shooters, which they identify as a challenge. So today I will be talking about these demands, and as I have done need assessments for all the athletes. So what I think is, if we have an understanding of what the demands of the sport is, then only we'll be able to provide with an intervention for the athletes. So I will be talking about the interventions as well, but focusing on the demands of the sport. So let's move on to the first two things which I would like to discuss. First one is managing anxiety while being there in the field, on the lane, during the competition, and building confidence. Both of these things go hand in hand. So as we all know, anxiety is of two types, somatic and cognitive. So in somatic anxiety, we have seen that there is a physiological arousal, which basically means that there will be an elevated heart rate, respiration rate, and perspiration rate. On the other hand, when it comes to cognitive anxiety, we can identify it on the basis of worry, overthinking, and negative thoughts, if there are any, for the athlete. So this is the model which we all have studied as sports psychologists. So it depends on the skill level of the athlete and the level of challenge which the athlete is going to face in the field. So it shows that when there is a high level of challenge but low level of skill, then there is high level of anxiety for that athlete. On the other hand, if there is high level of skill level but the challenge level is low, for example, during training instead of competition, during training when there is no competitive pressure as such, or there are no audience interactions, then the athlete would feel relaxed on the field or on the shooting range. So what would be the interventions? for building confidence and also managing anxiety, both. The first part, which some of these things are, of course, these are from the theoretical aspects, but some of them, as I have been in the field, I have also encountered and like used them for my own performance enhancement and along with the teammates. So mind to muscle and muscle to mind techniques. And okay, so these are the intervention plans. Most of them are being used. I personally work on the biofeedback training and monitoring arousal along with mindfulness training. Moving on to focusing attention and rehearsing mental imagery. So this is the theoretical framework for it. On the other hand, when it comes to focusing attention, attentional focus, when it comes to beginner, it is very intentional, as they need to pay attention to all the small body movements and the perceptual cues. On the other hand, when it comes to working with elite athletes, the entire process, the cognitive process, is very automated, as they have built a muscle memory for it. So yeah, the professionals, the process is relatively automatic, as their focus is only on the task and the goal. So this is a side picture which athletes focus on. This is what we see and shoot. Moving on to the interventions. Now I'll be talking mainly about building a pre-shot routine, as it helps all the athletes perform really well. And all the interventions, as they are used as pre-performance routines. But when it comes to being there on the field and performing in a competition, it is very, very important for them to maintain the consistency of behavioral patterns. So let us talk about pre-performance routine. So when it comes to shooting, we call it as pre-shot routine. It is a preparatory strategy which includes both cognitive and behavioral components. And when the athlete engages it in it systematically, then they perform at a better level. So this is my own pre-performance routine, as you can see. Moving on to the benefits of pre-performance routine. It reduces arousal, improves confidence. It enhances performance for athletes, specifically when it comes to close end skills. But there is one thing which I would like to mention. Having a pre-performance routine is helpful, but along with other interventions. For example, if the athlete has a specific cue word, or if they engage in self-talk, that it is more helpful for the athlete when it comes to performing there in the competition. So these are the elements of pre-performance routines, as you can see. And I would like to explain the stages of pre-performance routine. This is in context of pistol shooting. So the preparation stage, then there is a startup stage, working stage for the routine, release stage, which includes squeezing the trigger and shooting, and the follow-through stage. Okay, moving on to major challenges, which we call at target panic situations. These are of 4 types: flinching, snap shooting, freezing, and punching. As I have described it in very brief, you can get an idea of what it is and how it impacts the athletes. So in order to tackle these target panic situations, we do centering and thought stopping. So the stages involved in thought stopping and centering. The first one is displacing negative thoughts. Second is centering attention with a centering breath while being there on the lane. The third one is focusing all the attention on that task specific cue, which they are supposed to perform over there, and executing a skill with feeling of attentional control. This was all about the technical stuff. Now I would like to talk something about emotions, regulating emotions, and how mindfulness helps shooters in the field. So these are the elements which I would like to mention when it comes to mindfulness techniques and how they help the athletes regulate emotions, having an awareness of the breath, appraising the situation in a very rational way. Specifically when it comes to competitions, then body scan and body feeling to understand how the arousal is impacting the athlete, practicing gratitude, especially when it comes to setback or like low performance situations. This helps a lot. Journaling also helps a lot, because it helps the athlete to understand how they are growing as a human being and also as an athlete, and how they are able to cope up with all the situations. And the last one is developing sensory awareness. So these are the results, as I would like to say, of all the interventions that I have discussed, and also the mindfulness techniques. They help athletes with a reduced anxiety level. They help in performance, as the focus is also improved along, as I described about meditation and breath awareness. Then they have an enhanced feeling of self-awareness. They have improved cognitive control on their specific skills when it comes to shooting. They have better self-confidence, self-esteem, and overall it helps the athlete to have a better performance when it comes to high level competition situations. This is it from my side. I would like to acknowledge my university, Sri Ramachandra Faculty of Sports and Exercise Sciences, for helping me build my career as a sports psychologist and also as an athlete. As I've been training there as a rifle shooter, I've been training and competing in all the national level championships. I would like to thank Newcastle University for having me here, for organizing this event. I would like to thank my principal, Professor Jolly Roy. A special thanks to Amelia for coordinating the entire event and helping me with the registration process. And finally, last but not the least, my parents and my sister for being the backbone of my entire strength and helping me out with my career choices. Thank you. If you have any questions, I would like to, yeah, you can email the questions to me. If there is a time limit, which I don't know whether I have exceeded, I would like to encounter the questions.
Thank you so much for that, Samruddhi. It's so interesting and a very interesting sport that I don't know much about, but I see it takes a lot of demands.